Hey everyone, in this video I want to talk a little bit about fiscal policy. So we all know fiscal policy plays a huge role when it comes for the government to fix the economy because due to a lot of reasons the economy cannot adjust it by itself. So in this time it needs some third parties involvement. So in this video I'm gonna actually asking you this question: why is fiscal policy so hard to implement? What are some reasons that cause the fiscal policy um, cannot be done as we thought, as we imagined it could be? So I break this part into four main reasons. We're gonna starting with the timing effect. So we all know time is it's important for almost everything, and especially from the economist's view. And because if something takes a lot of times for it to accomplish or implement, we don't know at that time of period what will happen. The future is unpredictable. It's hard to use a mathematic model just to modeling it. So there's definitely some lag effects of it. So if you implement a policy, like everyone wants to implement it and uh, just let it work as soon as possible. So I break this lag effects into three parts. So the first is recognition, administrative, and follows the operational. So imagine that you are sick. You may want to go to the hospital and get some medicines and then go back and rest and then wait till you get better, you recover. And it's same for the economy. So imagine when there's time, when this the time for the fiscal policy to implement, just think, okay, the economy is sick. It takes some like medicines, and here the medicine is refers to the fiscal policies. So, but it also takes time for you to actually realize that you're sick, or like how much do you sick? Like, do you really need to like see the doctors, or is it just a very it's not a big deal or something? So it takes time, and this time is called recognition lag effect. And the same for the economy. It takes time for the economists, for people to actually realize, okay, our economy is not working so well right now. And the second one, administrative. So if you're sick, you realize that you're sick and you want to go to the hospital and you're gonna get the medicines. All of this process takes time, and the same for the economy. When the economists know that the economy needs to do some recovery, they're gonna adjust some policies. They're gonna think about that. They're gonna hold some discussions, meetings. These are all take times, okay. And last but not least is the operational. So it takes time for you after you get the medicines and you return to back home. You have to wait some days for you to actually recover. And the same for the economy. Even though you implement a policy, 90% of the times the policy does not work immediately fast. It takes some times for it to actually work in real lives. So this is operational lag effect. Okay. So the second big part for the timing is things changes at different times. Like every time period, it will happen different things. Like it's very hard for us just to take like a history's events for us to be the samples to predict the future events, because every events happen due to different reasons. Even though the reasons might be similar and the time period might be similar, it does not completely the same. So it takes some considerations and takes some actually discussions to really implement a very like a very realistic fiscal policy. And the third part is the pendulum effect. And this is actually a metaphor that it says that the economy is actually swinging back and forth. So it's very hard for us to actually do the most accurate policy, because we're not sure like what will happen tomorrow, what will happen in the next hour. So it's the same for the economy. Like every numbers, every data is changing like a second by second. So it takes time, and it's very hard for us just to be able to give a definition that okay, this is the correct policy, because we don't know after we implement it how it will really do to the real life. Okay, and the second part is the political side. So from the political, this is kind of hard to understand, so I'm gonna explain it more deeply, and more comprehensively, I hope. So we all know that the fiscal policy, the two main tools that people will do with the fiscal policy is either increase or decrease government spending, or increase and decrease taxes. So, like when the economy is bad, we all know there's have to have something to be done. So, which means that uh, when the things are bad, it's the whole economy is like we are really good at to increase government spending or cut taxes when things are bad. However, when things are good, like when the economy runs just well, it's very hard for people just to like accept a very high taxes and the government just decrease their spendings. So people are kind of like, because they're not considering that further away, they're more caring about what they have right now. So when they're seeing that the economy is running well, like a very few of the people will worried about the future. So that's kind of the things that's really gonna affect the fiscal policy to be implemented in the very good times. But it's like we're good at fix things when the things are bad, but it's a very few of us can realize it's time for also doing something when the situation is good. Okay. um yeah, so like this is more very theoretically, because theoretically we know that when the economy is good, we have to decrease government spending and increase taxes, and when and when economy is bad, it's better to increase government spending and decrease taxes. But it doesn't work that way, as theoretically and reality it always have difference. Yeah, so the third one is just consistency. um, you have to make sure that the policies that you've been implement to the fiscal policy is actually consist what the real lives is happening, because sometimes it does not. So it's also going to be a problem. And so for the last but not least, this is also like a very academically concept, and I also draw a graph next to it. It's called crowding out effect. So what does crowding out really means? So we know that the government have to increase their spending when things are bad, but where does that money come from? It has to be have come from somewhere. So that amount of money actually come from the loanable funds market. The government will increase their borrowing, which increase their demand for the loanable funds when the economy is bad. So you can see that right here, the demand curve once is this, now it shifted right to the demand one. So I put a D1 in here. And I also label some key terms in here, so you can see that the demand right here, it stands for the expected returns, and this demand, it means the both private and government borrows in here. And the supply curve in here, it means the money from people who save in the bank. So yeah, so you can see that after the demand shift out, the real interest rate goes up. So what do you mean by real interest rate goes up? It always gonna lead to something. What's that thing? Can you think about it? Well, it's gonna be the investment. When the real interest rate goes up, the investment's gonna go down. Because think about that way. Uh, well, when real interest is gonna go up, people will more prefer to store their money into the bank and get higher returns, because because if that time like they just took that money out and go to investment, there's still a lot of risk for their investment. And right here and right now the real interest rate is very high, so they will more prefer to storing more monies to the banks, right? So which means that the amount of investment will actually go down. And you know what, the purpose of the fiscal policy is to get the economy back right on track. So they want the aggregate demand, they want the real interest rate to increase. But you can see that from our previous like logic thinkings, the investment will go down. And remember, investment is one of the key components of the aggregate demand. So which means that aggregate demand will decrease. So so even though that government do something. They increased their government spending by a lot, which will theoretically shift the aggregate demand by the same amount, but in reality it does not, because the amount of investment has been crowded out because the government borrowing, which means that the aggregate demand will actually shift inward a little bit. So you can see that after I draw this D1 right here, I also draw a new curve, just shift inward a little bit to showing you how this crowding out effect looks like on the curve. Okay, so yeah, so this is all of the things that I'm gonna cover in this video, and these are all of the key main reasons that causes the fiscal policy hard to implement. And I know these are definitely not enough. I mean, in realistic lives, there's involves a lot of more factors to let the fiscal policy to be hard, because economy is complicated and our society is complicated. It's very hard to just put everything in like on the list and cover them in one video, and a lot of knowledges I am still learning, but these are all of the things that you will typically be met on your tests or quizzes for the fiscal policies. Like, what are some reasons behind it? What, like, why is it hard to implement? Okay, so yeah, so this is more like an idealized reasons, but I hope you learned something from this video, and if you like my video, please subscribe and leave some comments below. I would like to hear your thoughts, and nice work. I hope you have a nice day.